Well, hello everyone. We have come to the end of Tots for this term and this academic year. And over this past term, Sarah and Liz have been teaching us from Psalm 139, a wonderful psalm in the Old Testament, which tells us that God knows us absolutely and completely. And in her illustration last Thursday, Sarah used her cuddly friend Sid, who is a sloth, I guess, and Sid went on the plane, in the car, on the train, I think. And the illustration is that wherever you go, wherever you do, wherever you travel, God is with you. So let me just read the verses Sarah read last Thursday from the International Children's Bible. Where can I go to get away from your spirit? Where can I run from you? If I go up to the skies, you are there. If I go down to where the dead are, you are there. If I rise with the sun in the east and settle in the west beyond the sea, even there you would guide me. With your right hand, you would hold me. I could say the darkness will hide me. The light around me will turn into night. But even the darkness is not dark for you. The night is as light as the day. Darkness and light are the same to you. So this is just a reflection, a personal reflection on the teaching we've had over this past term from Psalm 139. So my mum died in 2021, just after I had reached my 65th birthday. And my dad had died many years before, in 2004, actually when he was 76. But my mum lived on for all those extra years until 2021, and it was a blessing to have her in my life for all those years. But one thing I realised that when she died is that I'd lost someone who knew me probably better than anyone else in the world. After all, she'd been there at my birth, obviously. And in those dark days of the 1950s, dads weren't allowed into the birthing room, as it were, and they had to stay at home and wait until the baby was born. My mum was there right at my birth and through all my growing and developing years and every year of my adult life. And she knew me incredibly well because she'd lived with me through all the difficulties and stresses of my life. And in spite of knowing me so well, she still loved me and cared about me, which was a wonderful blessing. But you know, this psalm, which we've been looking at in Tots this term, tells us about a God who knows us even better than that. He knows us even better than than whatever person in our lives knows us the best. And he was there in our mother's womb when everything that makes us unique and special was being created. These are some words from Psalm 139. You made my whole being. You formed me in my mother's body. I praise you because you made me in an amazing and wonderful way. What you have done is wonderful. I know this very well. You saw my bones being formed as I took shape in my mother's body when I was put together there. So, if ever there was a time when we were hidden in darkness, out of sight both of God and man, it was when we were being formed there in our mother's womb. Even our mums didn't know what we were like, did we? What was going on as we were formed there and developed inside our mum. It was like being, I guess you could say, in a dark cave. But it was there in that sort of antenatal darkness that God formed us and made us unique and special. God was there forming us and creating us in our mother's womb. And God's knowledge of us shows us that there is nothing hidden from this omnipresent, all-knowing God. He is there if we ascend to the sky, we could say. If we went up in a rocket to the moon, he'd still be there. Or if we go into the deep where the dead are, as it were, then he is still there. God's awesome presence and knowledge. How do you feel about someone who knows you so deeply and in such a special and personal way? David found it a comfort, but it could also be scary. A God who knows all about us, a God who sees into the darkest corners of our hearts. Imagine that. Imagine you are in court, charged with a crime, and you have stolen something perhaps, or lied. It may be a minor thing, but you want to get off, so you've declared yourself not guilty. But then up on the screen comes one of those Google Maps that shows you every journey you've made in the last few months. And then every word you've ever said comes up as a kind of transcript of your life and the things you've said. And then every thought is revealed. A God who knows like that, it could be scary as well as a comfort to us. So I want to finish with the words of a chorus I was taught as a child when I was growing up in the 1960s. And it goes like this. There's only one who knows the very worst about you and loves you just the same. There's only one who loves like that, and Jesus is his name. Through all our sins and failures, both in thought and in word and in deed, they all lay open before God. But we can be forgiven if we come into the light, as it were. We can be cleansed and welcomed into God's family through Jesus, who gave us his life for us. Here's the words to close with a hymn I sang also as a child. Search me, O God, my actions try, and let my life appear, as seen by thine all-searching eye. To mine, my ways make clear. Search till thy fiery glance has cast its holy light through all, and I by grace am brought at last before thy face to fall.